is the only player to have won the Madrid Open or Madrid Masters on all three surfaces. These being the hard court that they used to play on, the blue clay, and the current red clay. He's more dominant on blue clay than he is on grass, right? You should know that.
He's more dominant on blue clay than any player.
Yeah, better than Nadal was on red clay, even at the French Open.
Okay. But blue clay, Nadal's the king of clay. But not blue clay.
Yeah. Monte Carlo is on a hill of sorts, you know? So it's not it's not by the sea.
Like 20 then?
They're not like, going in for a dip and then going straight onto the court. Like, it's not that close. Come on.
Yeah.
They've got to climb up the hill first. So Rome and Monte Carlo are roughly 20 meters above sea level. So you could have used a tape measure for that. You could have got someone to just.
Yeah, but you wouldn't.
Well, in my head, it'd be funny.
Why is this part of this? Why is this part of this podcast right now? Why are you talking about measuring how high a court is altitude-wise with a tape measure? Something like, oh, maybe Tsitsipas will finally do it because he's showing some ability to come through like big tasks, like beating Team, for example. But he's not got what it takes in the big moments, in the big finals, I don't think, to become the champion that people allude him to potentially being.
Welcome back to the Getting a Grip podcast. This week, instead of being all over the place, everything is in one place, which is very nice. In the, how do we call it? La Caja Magica. That's going to be my best Spanish pronunciation. Or I'll just do it in English. The Magic Box. There it is.
Yep.
So yeah, we're all in Madrid this week at altitude, as everyone likes to talk about, and the speed of play, is a little bit higher than it would be at other places, and there might be questions on that to come. But any standouts for you so far in terms of, upsets or top matches?
I don't think there have really been any major upsets for me. I mean, some people might talk about the likes of Holger Rune coming out, as being an upset, but to me that's not an upset because he has never found really a streak of consistent form. He'll maybe string 2 or 3 titles sort of tournaments together in terms of deep runs, but that's not what we're talking about in terms of true consistency and stuff like that. So in terms of that, and then Rybakina coming out as well, then that's a little bit more of a shock. So again, it depends what you're defining these shocks as. But we've not seen sort of number one seeds exiting the tournaments. We've seen some challenges, but that's to be expected.
Yeah, I think TFO's out as well, which would be a surprise because he lost to an unseeded player. I tell you what, someone who is catching my eye more regularly is Jan Lennard-Struff. He seems to have this season really taken it up a notch. Who did he just beat? He just beat Lajovic. Keep trying to pronounce his name. Who's obviously, he just won that Banja Luka tournament the other week and has been playing really well. I think, he's someone, I saw him at Wimbledon last year and I had heard of him before. I'm sure he'd been in and around the tour for a bit, but he seems to have, he's upped his game this year. And, again, it's not just about the big serve, it's the movement and the volleying. And especially at a tournament like this where, everything's a little bit faster, does sort of play a bit more into the hands of, some of these bigger servers and bigger hitters. It almost doesn't play quite like a traditional clay tournament, really. Hence why you've seen the likes of Federer win it a few times before. So that's something to look out for. Maybe there will be a few more big servers towards the latter end of the tournament, but I'd still expect the likes of Alcaraz to be there as he was last year. But it's a bit more open, obviously, because there's a few big players that aren't in the tournament as well. Obviously Nadal's not there, Djokovic is not there. Sinner's not there, is he? I don't think he is. So it's a bit more open than normal. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get into some questions. So the first one is going to center around men's singles. These are going to be probably more historic questions today. So, number one, On the men's single side, I want to know who is the only player to have won the Madrid Open or Madrid Masters on all three surfaces. These being the hard court that they used to play on, the blue clay, and the current red clay. So the options are as follows. I'm going to give you the big four: Federer, Nadal, Djokovic, or your man Murray.
Well, Murray's only won it twice. So I'm not
Mm.
going to say it's Murray because there's three surfaces and he's only done it twice. So that's ruled him out. I feel like Djokovic's span won't be long enough for this question either. So I think really we're looking at either Federer or Nadal. Um, Clay court tournament in Spain. Would I be foolish not to back Nadal on this one? Hmm. Considering I don't know the answer, I think safe bet I'm going to go with Nadal. I feel like you've put this question in because it's Federer, but I'm going to go with Nadal.
Why are you going to say it like that?
Oh, I don't know. Same way that you're like, oh, you like Murray, blah blah blah.
I don't mention it as much as you do. I don't talk about Federer as much as Murray. Anyway, um, so in fact, you need to get a grip.
Because it's Federer, isn't it?
Oh, boring. It is Federer, yes. So you did whittle it down to the correct two, but yes, Federer obviously did win it back when it was on hard court pre. Actually, I'm not going to say the year because that might be a question that comes up. But he did win it on hard court, and then he won it on the blue clay. Do you know how long they used the blue clay for?
Oh God, it can't be more than like 2 or 3 years, honestly.
It was 1 year.
It was 1 year.
It was literally 1 year.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah. So that was in 2012, and they were like, "Well, the players didn't really like it, so we'll switch it back." I don't know. What do you feel
Yeah.
like? What would you? We've played on blue hard courts, I suppose, but blue clay courts. I don't know what kind of difference does that make really? I don't really
I don't think it
understand.
makes much of a difference except it plays with people's heads. Like that's just a weird surface. I also want to know what blue clay is. Like what
Yeah, how do they
substance
make
is
it?
that they're putting down, honestly.
Mm.
Ground up Smurfs, maybe, or I don't know.
Shredded Smurfs.
Yeah,
Just
honestly.
grind them down. Yeah, that is interesting,
But
actually.
yeah, so apart from that, I think yeah, I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure, but um
Yeah, if we're playing
maybe
on
it's the
blue hard
glass or
courts,
something.
what is the difference?
Yeah.
Like, surely you can
I
still see the
can't
ball
I can't
clearly.
imagine yeah, I can't imagine there is much of a difference, to be quite honest. Um
Mm.
yeah.
Maybe everyone's just associated blue with being hard court, like mentally. So, like in their
Oh yeah,
head,
for sure.
the speed of the ball and the bounce of the ball. I don't know, but
Yeah,
surely you would
yeah.
get used to it. Like if you just you had a bit of training like beforehand, like they do have time to do, and kind of
Yeah.
acclimatize. Very strange. But anyway, so Federer is actually the only player to have won a tournament on blue clay. That's the interesting fact
Interesting.
for today.
Well, because it was the only tournament that did it, and it did
Like
it for
ever,
1 year.
yeah. He's more dominant on blue clay than he is on grass, right? You should know that.
He's more dominant on blue clay than any player.
Yeah, better than Nadal was on red clay, even at the French
Yeah,
Open.
okay.
I'll
Yeah,
have you know.
yeah, but blue clay, Nadal's the king of clay. But not blue clay.
Yeah. Come on, what's more important here? Anyway, there we go. So shaky start, 0 from 1. Here we go. Second question on the women's single side. Very simply, who has won the Madrid Masters the most times? So your options are
Interesting.
Serena Williams, Simona Halep, Petra Kvitova, or Iga Swiatek.
Well, it's not going to be the last one. Too soon for that title to be hers. Um, I never felt like Williams did too well on the clay. Like her season tended to be quite inconsistent in that regard. From memory, again, this could be absolute rubbish, but I do know that Petra Kvitova did quite well for a couple of years because people always ask the question, will she be able to convert this form to grass and go on and win like Wimbledon and stuff like that? Which, she did. Um, I'm going to go with Kvitova. I feel like that's the right answer. Because I do remember her having won Madrid a few times.
Final answer?
Yeah.
That is correct. Well done. I thought that one might catch you out because people wouldn't necessarily associate her with playing well on clay. But again,
You think more grass, don't you? You
yeah.
do think more grass.
But we are, again, it's the altitude, isn't it? The altitude effect.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
does
Well,
bring in those players a bit more, doesn't it?
this is where that argument comes in. Like grass players used to the speed and all of that sort of stuff. At the altitude, it does make that difference.
Yeah, so it brings in players, a bit like her, bigger serves, bigger ground strokes.
Hmm.
I mean, she still moves really well as well, but yeah, I guess the points are a little bit shorter than they would be on a traditional clay surface, closer to sea level. So yeah, she's actually won it 3 times. So I don't know. You would think that the holder of the most titles would have had more than 3. So it's obviously been spread out quite a bit over the years. I think Serena won it twice. But yeah, you're right. She did win it in those kind of around the years where she was winning Wimbledon. So 2011, 2015, and 2018. But the way she's playing, I mean, I'm going to say this, is she's still in the tournament. She could be a shout to win it this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess Pagula would be up there. Sakari, sometimes she's there or thereabouts. And obviously Swiatek and Sabalenka for that matter. So there's a few that, are in the mix. But yeah, she's got the most number of wins over the years, who would have thought? So 1 from 2. Next question, doubles question. This relates to last year's tournament though.
Okay.
So you might actually know this quite easily now that I think about it. So Wesley Koolhof, if that's how you say his name, won the doubles final last year with which British partner?
Oh God, I know this one.
Maybe I shouldn't have said British. Then again, all the options would have given it away anyway. So you have Jamie Murray, you have Neil Skupski, you have Joe Salisbury, and Cameron Norrie. Anybody? No.
He plays doubles. What?
He did. He played last year, actually. Yeah.
Well, he didn't win, did he?
I don't know. Did he?
No.
You tell me.
No, it was Neil Skupski.
Yes, that is correct.
Thank you.
Do you know how many Masters titles they won last year as a pairing?
Oh God, it was quite a few.
Was it?
Wasn't it? No, I distinctly remember them being quite an effective pair. But maybe it wasn't. Oh, no, I have no idea. I mean, this isn't a question, so I'm not going to answer it.
Oh wow. That's how we're playing it, is it?
Yeah.
Strictly efficient. Well, as far as I know, they won 3 Masters titles last year. So they won in Madrid, they won in Canada. I don't know if you call it Montreal or Toronto, but one of the two. And then they won in Paris. Montreal. That's the one, yeah.
Montreal. I like the second one better.
That does have a bit of better flow to it, I have to say.
Yeah.
Did they win the end of year Masters though?
No, I feel like that was another British pair.
I actually don't know the answer to that.
I don't know.
It wasn't them, I'm pretty sure. I think, didn't they get to the final though?
Yeah, because I think it was like an all British final. There was 3 Brits, and then just Wesley. Because I think it was
Salisbury and Ram. It looks like.
Yeah, that's right.
There you go. So I put Salisbury in there. It was not like a completely stupid option. But then again, when you know the partner, then it's kind of it is stupid. But yeah, they're obviously they're the current holders of the Madrid Masters. They did actually win that last year's final 10-5 in the champ tiebreaker. So it's not like
you love a tie-break score, don't you?
I do. And because I just checked their latest match and the score was exactly the same in the final set. It's also 10-5. So, despite them winning a fair few tournaments, you'd think they might be, I don't know, a little bit more dominant. But again, we talk about this a lot in doubles. And normally the sets are pretty close. Like generally people are holding serve fairly often, even on surfaces like clay. So it does quite often come down to, champ tiebreakers. So it's more like who can hold their nerve or execute the right kind of strategy in those key points. And like you said, when you come to that champ tiebreak, it brings everything closer together, right? Because one pair's serving and then the next pair's serving for a couple of points. So it's normally pretty close. But there you go. So yeah, let's see how their form's going to match up compared to last year. The 3 Masters titles is pretty good going. I think even the Bryan brothers would be proud of that one.
For sure.
All right, 2 out of 3. The next one, which is alluding to what we talked about earlier. When did the Madrid Open move from the Madrid Arena to La Caja Magica? Has to be said like that.
Interesting. Okay.
With jazz hands. So, your years are 2006, 2008, 2009, or 2011.
So I know Nadal and Federer had both won the tournament before it moved. Don't tell me why I know that being a fact. I just know that is a fact. So what were your options again?
2006, 2008, 2009, or 2011. I'm going to specify it by saying what year was it first played at the new place rather than the year that it was last played at the Madrid Arena.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just realised that.
Yeah.
So it was actually an indoor hard court tournament before.
Yeah.
Now it's an outdoor clay tournament.
Well, that was played at the Madrid Arena. Oh God. I think it's 2009. This is one of these things where my brain is my instinct is telling me that that's the right answer because I know that both Federer and Nadal had won it before it moved. They both had won it whilst it was an indoor tournament. You were talking about that blue clay rubbish. 2009. I was saying 2009.
Well, that's interesting. You should say that because that is correct. Yes. Well done.
Thank you.
Yes. So yeah, I almost got confused there. So the final indoor hard court tournament was in 2008, and then the first outdoor clay event was in 2009. Interestingly, we call it a new venue now. They've been there for a while. This venue has 3 main show courts that all have retractable roofs and hold up to 17,000 spectators. So when we're talking about these Masters events, again, trying to showcase themselves as obviously not Grand Slams, but distinct from maybe 500 events or 250 events, or even compared to other Masters events. That's something that's quite a unique selling point, or something that they can showcase compared to the other tournaments. Because what other Masters tournaments have retractable roofs? I don't think there are. Are there any at the moment? So yeah, obviously not that it rains that much anyway in Madrid. Of all places to have the roofs, I feel like one of the other Masters events could probably do with the roof a bit more than Madrid, because when does it actually rain there at this time of year? It's like the driest place. It's like in the desert almost. But yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about the metal, this kind of metal box vibes. in the stadium. You know, the way that everything's like sectioned off. I don't know. That looks a bit.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
don't know. Not concrete, but it looks a bit. I don't know. Not natural. Not that any of it is natural, but
I was going to say, what tournaments do you know where the courts look like it's growing? Well, I suppose Wimbledon, actually.
Wimbledon.
To be fair, they put so much shrubbery around it, you know.
I don't know. I don't know. I feel like it could feel a bit more like make it feel more like an atmosphere if they didn't have like it sectioned off quite so much like that. But anyway, that's just. I'm not a designer, so.
Well, you want your places run by the Knights of St. Knee, don't you? So, no.
Anyway, there we go. So yeah, and as we said, it did switch to blue clay for 1 year in 2012, and then switched straight back. But at least they tried it. All right, that's more than some other places can say. All right, so we are 3 from 4 now. Okay, so we're back on track. Final question. We always have to have an altitude question in there.
Okay.
I think this might have been a question we used before. So, simply, what altitude is the Madrid Open played at to the nearest 10 meters? So your options are
10?
Yeah, 600, 650, 670, or 710.
Okay. There's 4 options there. When we first said, the question, I was like, I'm pretty sure I know this because it's like between 650, 700. And I was just like, oh yeah, great. Then you give me your options, the nearest 10, and I'm like, well, that's all of them.
Well, no, it's not. you just said 650 to 700. That's 2 of the options. I thought you would know this. Like, this is a very kind of obvious question to ask.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I know. So if I'm right in thinking, it's like 660 something, but I can't remember if it's 660 below 5 or above 5.
Do you need the options again?
Yeah, do the options again.
600,
I feel like I made up an option in my head.
670 or 710.
Oh, right. Well, I'm going to say 670 because that feels much closer to my ballpark. I made up in my head that you said 660 as well.
Right, okay. We're just attacking the quiz master now.
Yeah. No, okay. I made it up in my head. Like, it's not your fault.
Okay. Well, yes, you are correct. After all that drama. Yes. So it is, you were very close with the exact measurement as well, which is 667 meters. I want to know, how do they actually measure this? Like, does someone get a tape measure and go down to sea level and then just keep putting them on top of each other?
What? No, they use satellite data, you mug.
I wish you'd have just believed that.
You wish I'd believed that.
That would have been nice, yeah.
That would have been nice, right? Okay. Wouldn't it be nice for me?
No. So, yes, 667 meters is the altitude. Do you know roughly how high the Rome and Monte Carlo Masters are above sea level in comparison?
In comparison, I think. Well, barely at all, surely.
Yeah, pretty much. That is the measurement, actually.
Like barely, yeah, literally, it's going to be
meters.
Like 1 if 0.
Well, no, come on, it's not like Monte Carlo is on a hill of sorts, you know. So it's not.
Okay.
Sorry, it's not by
is
the
it
sea.
Like 20 then?
They're not like, you know, going in for a dip and then going straight onto the court. Like, it's not that close. Come on.
Yeah.
They've got to climb up the hill first. Yeah, so Rome and Monte Carlo are roughly 20 meters above sea level. So you could have used a tape measure for that. You could have got someone to just.
Yeah, but you wouldn't.
Like, yeah, well, in my head, it'd be funny.
Why is this part of this? Why is this part of this podcast right now? Why are you talking about measuring how high a court is altitude-wise with a tape measure?
Anyway, I'll get on to the actual point, which is yes, this tournament is at a lot higher altitude compared to the next Masters clay court events that they're going to, where it's a bit more traditional, a bit more of a slugfest. The likes of Nadal are kind of feel a bit more at home there. Obviously, the French Open is also played at a fairly low altitude as well, so doesn't bring in the kind of big servers and the big hitters quite as much. So you can kind of, it's just interesting to observe what kind of players do well at the Madrid Masters compared to when we see them go into Rome and Monte Carlo. Not Monte Carlo, sorry, we've had Monte Carlo, Rome, and is there another clay court event? That's pretty much it. Then it's French Open, isn't it? So just interesting to contrast from the previous tournament to this one, and then back to sea level again. And yeah, I mean, it's mainly like the ball speed, right? We talked about this before, the kind of thinner air enabling the balls to travel quicker through so there's, a few more free points as such on the serve. There we go. Yeah, I won't talk anymore about tape measures. I didn't expect it to go that way either, but yeah, let us know your thoughts on blue clay. That's something that I would like to see I would like to see that make a return, personally.
You want to see blue clay make a return? Oh, yeah. God.
Why not? Like, I don't see, like, from a spectator point of view, why it would be an issue. This the yellow contrast with the blue.
Why not bright neon pink clay?
Well, that might be a bit too much, I think. Like, a bright yellow ball is enough for my eyes. I don't know, it's just something different. Like, everything is played on red clay, so again, I don't know, just something different for the spectators. Let us know your thoughts on who you think are going to win on the men's and women's side and on the double side. My bet, I think I'm going to stick with the kind of obvious choice of Alcaraz. I don't know if you got anyone else in mind that you think on the men's side might sneak through.
No, I think you're right. To be quite honest, I think boring. I would be backing. And look, I could be really boring, like a lot of other podcasts, and say something like, "Oh, maybe Tsitsipas will finally do it because he's showing some ability to come through like big tasks, like beating Team, for example." But he's not got what it takes in the big moments, in the big finals, I don't think, to become the champion that people allude him to potentially being. So, yeah, no, I don't, sadly. I am interested to see what Khachanov and Rublev as a pair do in the doubles, though. That I'm interested. Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're both big hitters. So seeing Rublev and Khachanov taking on people in the doubles in a place where, Madrid's in their air quality, and I'm excited to see it because I don't genuinely think they can do some damage.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm interested to see that actually as well, because I think, Khachanov's got a pretty big serve. I mean, Rublev has a decent serve as well. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like I don't really see Rublev volleying a lot. So that's also of intrigue to me. He likes to generally like thrash it out from the baseline.
But potentially that's why they're playing the doubles, because they both know that they need to use that part of their game more. And doubles is a great place to practice that.
Yeah. And I saw an interesting quote from like Maxime Cressy the other day saying like his game style is just specifically going to be, mainly going to be serve and volleying, and he thinks like he can get to the top playing that way. So I don't know, I find it interesting to hear players talk like that because it goes against the grain so much. But I don't know, I'm all for like the different styles of game, and volleying is always going to have a place in my book. Like you can't be slugging out like long rallies consistently like every match if you want to get far in tournaments, win multiple tournaments, because I just think the toll on your body eventually will just will limit you. So that always has to have a place in the game. And then on the women's side, are you going to go with the obvious prediction or someone else?
Oh, it'd be hard. It would be hard to think that Swiatek wouldn't take it in the end. No, again, like I'm not seeing someone who's on hot form. I was tempted to say Badosa could do a little bit of a a surprise sweep, but she's been knocked out now. So it's it's a tough thing to call, but you know
Yeah, I
we've got a
think
solid winner in Swiatek.
yeah on the clay that's definitely a preferred surface. Like utilizing her movement a lot more. Obviously, she's won like a couple French Opens already as well. I mean, yeah,
Mm.
Pegula could give her a decent run for her money, I think, but I just think Swiatek's too strong, as she showed in the tournament last week in the Stuttgart Open
Yeah,
against Sabalenka in the final. Like Sabalenka played
yeah.
like really well and was hitting very aggressively, but it's just on that clay, that next level of movement, I think, just gives her the edge. But yeah, let us know your predictions for that as well. And obviously, if you've enjoyed it, give us a follow on the different podcast platforms and then on YouTube. Like it, share it around, and subscribe. And we'll see you in the next one for some more Madrid, reaction to see if our predictions have come true. See you next time.